Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2 from the ESL Open Cups. Some of the best players in the world fight it out every week for a chance at some money, some ESL points, and more importantly, glory. And positive comments that definitely don't complain about balance. So with that, let's jump in to the finals of the Korean tournament number 3. From oh wait, I can just read this. Cascade Esports. It is sort of. Now, not a Korean player. I'm not sure if he's in Korea right now or just competing in this tournament, but I want to say, wait, is he Swedish? He's not Swedish. He's Swedish. I was right the first time. I should have stuck with my gut. I've been doing this a while. And in the bottom right, from Storm Gaming. It is true. Who's back in Korea after several years in the U.S. One of the most fun players to watch. You might be like, Zerg versus Zerg. Why did I even click on this video? Well, the video probably is entitled Zerg versus Zerg because everybody knows you weren't going to click on that. This is probably titled Absolute Crazy Korean Madness or something equally clickbaity because I've been told Rifkin at Base Trade TV recommended this series especially because this is not the ZVZ. This is not your Serals and your Rayners of ZVZ. This is like if Serral and Rayner had an uncle who never finished high school and went into a Russian circus, learned a whole lot of things that probably shouldn't be repeated, and then used those in order to get an advantage over his competitors. That is what I expect to see in these matches. As True has always been one of those creative players with less than standard strategies, and sort of, well, a solid macro player in and of his own right. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets down, well, down and dirty. I was trying to come up with a clever way to say that, but now we're here. So far, nothing too out of the ordinary. We got Zergling Speed, sort of taking a slightly later gas. I mean, not a slightly later gas, a slightly later third base. Nothing yet. Summary, nothing yet. It's looking like sort of playing mildly safer. I mean, look at True's drone count. That's what happens when you take like the super quick third, which can pay off in the long run. But early on, well, when you get the third, early on, it becomes a lot less vulnerable to being taken down or delayed by Zerglings. That could be part of it. More drones on the way. Sometimes we'll get games where even though they build a Zergling Speed and they get a Baneling Nest, well, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going heavily down that road. Also testing out some damaged health bars, giving it a shot. It's a little more cinematic, though. I personally like having all the health bars on. ZVZ is definitely one of the matchups where things can get a little wild, especially if the health bars all look the same. So we're giving it a shot. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, or we could go GSL mode and just not have any health bars. And does that Ultra have 2 HP or 200? It's anybody's guess. Rounds of Zerglings coming out. True gets the first wave. He's down. Now look at the drone counts behind. This is where ZVZ does get... well, neither player is really going to commit to this unless someone makes a big mistake, which I doubt. You rarely see it at this level. That's the reason why Ling Bane isn't played out like it is at Diamond, because these players can actually micro. You're very unlikely to see some sort of big Baneling hit that hits a dozen Zerglings and opens up a huge opportunity, as opposed to a little bit of back and forth, keeping them honest. Like, you gotta make some Lings and Banes. Don't want to just lose your queens here. But here comes sort of. He's down a handful of workers, and now he's getting aggressive. Other side of the map, Baneling connects defensively. He has 5 Banelings himself if he can try to slip a couple through, but the queens and the creep has been connected between the natural and the third, which means it's even more difficult to find an opportunity there. Roaches coming out of SortOf. It looks like we're not going to be able to just slink into lair tech with no contest. And slink indeed is what SortOf is trying to do. Finds a nice positioning here. Well, the queen jammed in the back. Brenda doing her absolute best. The Lings will take down the queen, but at what cost? 3 drones going with her. SortOf is significantly behind on workers, but he does have a dozen roaches or so. A whole bunch of Zerglings on the way. True finished his roach warren. He finished his lair. But, well, okay, he has 3 gases mining here, but this is not the scenario where you can just get +1 in roach speed. What is this? Cyril versus Raynor, I repeat, yet again? There's a whole bunch of roaches on the way for SortOf, and True has to build his own. There's also a bunch of Zerglings behind this. Several more. SortOf held on to most of his Banelings from earlier, and now adding some more. True is up 13 workers, so all he has to do is hold this. If he holds it, he essentially wins the game unless he holds it and loses a bunch of his drones. Lings run by. They slip through in between the Roach Ward and the Baneling nest. Some units have to move to defend. A whole bunch of Banelings coming through, crashing into the main lines. A couple transfuses, but a lot of splash damage going across the board. He's trying to ensure victory for his roaches. A whole bunch of Zerglings will be streaming behind this. The Banelings eating some of the shots. He's using them as buffer just to eat more hits from the roaches. Ravagers will pop out with full HP. He gets 1 cancel, but the second Ravager comes out. SortOf continues to scream through. The Roach Warren itself is vulnerable. That would be a good target to take out. Have a monopoly on the Roach tech. A whole bunch of Zerglings. True's rally point is a bit of a mess. Oh, Overlord's getting involved, mostly because of a misclick, I'm sure. There is no other upgrade besides Zergling speed. They're still firing shots. The Corrosive Bile airballs it. A lot of damage being done. Even with damaged health bars, it's very difficult to tell exactly what's going on. They've broken through. The Roach Warren still hasn't been taken down, surprisingly. More roaches on the way. True at 69 supply. Not so nice for him, though. Roach Warren is down for the count. Ravagers beneath, to the back, wherever these Ravagers are. Drones are pulled. The worker lead no longer exists. SortOf is breaking True, and True no longer has access to the Roach tech. The thing is, 12 drones going down. We've evened things out. The reinforcement should be enough as SortOf pushes forward. Is that it? 54 to 27 army supply. There's no kicker. There's nothing that True has that is going to turn the tides heavily into his favor. He doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have the economy. There are no upgrades, and he can't even build roaches anymore. Or Zerglings coming up, but SortOf's Baneling buffer attack. The surround, the slaughter, and SortOf puts together enough momentum and breaks through in game 1. What a mess. So it wasn't a Lingbane attack. It was a Lingbane and Roach attack. There's a lot of, ZVZ is the closest you're going to get to a poker game in StarCraft 2, where both players are desperately trying to hide exactly what tech they're going for. And really, if you don't hear from them or you don't see anything for a minute, you might think they're droning. Or they might be hiding a dozen roaches, and SortOf they're hiding a dozen roaches. More than enough. He takes game 1. Game 2 is on Ephemeron, which... pretty similar map to Nightshade. I think this is more going to be down to the mine games than the map games. We will see. What a mess. I think that comes down to, like, what you'll see Cyril and Raynor do a lot of the time is get Zerglings in. They're constantly with that 500 or whatever carpal tunnel inducing APM. They'll get Zerglings constantly scouting. Somehow Cyril always gets a Ling into his opponent's main. Seeing the drone count, seeing if there's a lair, seeing if there's a... that's most of it. A Roach Warren and a bunch of roaches hiding. But players even just marginally below that level struggle to keep up on all of that, plus all the other things you need to do. Like build drones, creep spread, watch for counterattacks, and actively scout their opponents to the extent like True Didn't get a ling in. He didn't see there were a dozen roaches. And not seeing there are a dozen roaches means, well, good luck. Though it was SortOf's management. Now, this is something you'll also see the top Zergs do. A lot of players think Baneling, splash damage. But what Banelings also are is a damage soak. Okay, like, it takes 3 roach hits, I believe, if I'm doing my math correctly, to kill a Baneling. So 3 roach hits on a Baneling that was going to hit your roach anyways are 3 hits that aren't hitting other things. So if you have a monopoly on Banelings like SortOf did in that game, why not use it for the HP? Soak it up. And I think that made the difference, like keeping those Banelings on move command as opposed to just attacking in. And soaked more than enough damage to, well, push through. I'm actually surprised he didn't target down the Roach Warren earlier. But that doesn't necessarily solve the problem of them having the defender's advantage. True, once again, going to be going for a quicker third. A couple more drones this time. Sort of close to matching him. Mainling nest for SortOf is a little quicker. It appears SortOf going for, well, he's back to 3 in gas here. True's got 2 out of 3. And yes, the details on when they're mining gas. Now, Zerg players, you Zerg players out there, and I know, I've seen it. I've seen too many replays of Zerg players in the less accomplished levels and their overlords. Overlords are not the most micro-intensive unit. And especially in ZVZ, when the only people who can deal with OVs are Brenda and her knitting crew, who have to work up the energy and the time to commit to killing them, you can copy players like True and SortOf, and especially Cyril and Raynor and Dark, and all these Zerg players who are several thousand MMR above you and me. Copy them. Just watch one game or one replay on each map and each matchup, and say, oh, that's where the overlords go. You might not understand why, but it's not hard to figure it out. This overlord is here, so it can spot anything coming out. I'm actually a little surprised it's not pushed up slightly more. He doesn't want it to get picked off by queens. This overlord is more obvious. It's covering exactly all the vision area. Yeah, this is more like where the overlord should be going. So even players of this caliber make mistakes, but True not trying to hide the Zerglings. Whoa, 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 whoa! 6 Banelings? What are you doing? 6 Banelings and still more Zerglings. He's building a lair behind. True actually has more drones as well. This obviously leads into a Spire, but kind of crazy he's building this many Banelings to start. He's trying to sneak into the natural. Ling's moving to respond. The Queen has a lot of work to do, but the Banes actually connect. 8 kills! And then a couple over in the corner. Whoa, big mistake out of SortOf. You can't let 2 Banes just walk in. What is that? So 10 drones go down. And is there even a lair for SortOf? No. This has become a total disaster. There's already a lair. Spire is in production. True has a drone lead. And he killed double-digit SortOf workers. That is, that's not supposed to happen. That's unacceptable. What are you doing? So now True has map control. The only thing SortOf's going to have is... Wait, what? He doesn't have a Roach Warren! Oh my god. I assumed he had a Roach Warren, thus why +1 was mostly finished. Oh, well, this ain't good. The only real potential for a counterattack here would be like that dozen or so roaches, maybe some more, and +1. And he wouldn't have roach speed, but maybe they could go with the queens. But now, True is gonna get Mutas up uncontested. He's getting Baneling speed, which indicates he wants to go Mutaling Baneling. He saw the Roach Warren timing, right? He saw that SortOf is going to go for roaches, and he's going to realize +1 is done. So what that mean? Oh my god, SortOf is killing his own creep tumors to wall off. Well, this is a play, actually. Okay. Now, he needs to recreep, but... So, the big vulnerabilities are counterattacks and the lack of maneuverability. And sort of, I think, is realizing that those are the big weaknesses. Or you can't... There's nothing that moves as fast as Mutilating Bane. So, remove some of those options. Evolution Chambers in the long run are relatively cheap. Spore Crawlers, incredible against mutas. Now, Baneling drops are going to negate a whole lot of this strength. But, okay. I like what sort of I think sort of has realized the situation. But has he realized? Now, Spore Crawlers are going to help. The Baneling's dropping on the wrong, well, 2 Banelings with speed. Oh, remember the first 2 didn't even have it. And when they have speed, they have 5 more HP, by the way. He's just rolling in. Oh, I got 1 life to live, and I'm living my best one. Kills a couple larvae. No critical damage there. Actually, a decent Baneling-related scout. Okay, that's, yeah. Brenda and her knitting crew are very angry about this, and they figured it out a bit ago. The lack of creep here is startling. And that's did not need to be one. I'm very surprised there's not. Oh, he's just rolling through. He doesn't care. The Drown's on the run. They can't run far enough. He only loses 9, which is still terrible, but 82 drones for True. True is, well, he can build everything he wants and throw it away, which is a good thing because his army is almost entirely dependent on building everything he wants and throwing it away. This is maybe a near record for the amount of drones in a ZVZ, especially a ZVZ under 10 minutes. A bunch more Banelings. There's going to be 5 bases of gases. Sort of is literally trying to wall off all of his bases. More Banelings rolling in. They don't care about your roaches. They just care about the kills. A Baneling counters Banelings, but he won't stop. He can't stop. 11 drones go down, sort of back under 50. And sort of, he's building lurkers now, which is one way to kind of stall out these attacks. But at some point, the muta count gets too damn high. Oh, there goes one lurker. The muta count gets to the point where he can start killing spores. Oh, here he comes! There's one lurker behind. I don't think... Oh, he's holding! He's holding! The lurker was not targeted, but enough Banelings break through the blockade! The drones are on the run again! He's lost so many! The Spore Crawler, the real MVP here, though. Oh my god, 39 drones have died, even though he has the lurker. Oh, he's coming in for another pass. The Spore Crawler doing so much, he just goes by to the natural. There's a lurker that burrows. He might be able to stall this out. He needs to stop every Bane. Oh, not quite. Even more drones are gonna die. True is everywhere. He doesn't seem to care. He's lost 10 mutas. This Spore Crawler has 6 kills. Sort of is trying to stop the bleeding. And True just says, I'll do it again. You dare me? Doesn't matter. I'll do it again. I swear. And that's a very True move. The wall is holding. A hive is somehow finished for sort of. And he doesn't have the money really for any lurker upgrades. He's desperately trying to rebuild. He goes for the lurker. He gets the lurker. Breaks through the wall with Banelings. 13 seconds on +2 melee attack, which would one-shot drones, but build enough Banelings. You don't need to worry too much about that. More Banelings coming in. 58 Banelings have died. I'm not sure if that counts however many attacked. 13 more drones are obliterated. The Banelings just seem to come seeping in from every opportunity. There's a Viper. There was a Viper. There's no longer a Viper. The Banelings are in, and they have +2. Don't worry, there are no drones. And that's it, True. Forces game 3. True just did not care. I like how True embraced the position he was in. Like, a smarter player, and probably a more accomplished player, not that True is a pushover himself, would have would have kind of pulled back, maybe gone lurkers themselves, been like, I have a better economy, no reason to risk it all with the mutas. True throwing away about 30 banelings and 5 mutas every minute until the game is won. But before we go into match point, I wanna remind you, if you want to participate in these tournaments, you can go to the description below if this is on YouTube, and which you unlock by liking and subscribing. You might have not noticed there was a description before. I'm pretty sure no one but the YouTube algorithm ever has. But, believe it or not, you can participate in these weekly tournaments if you'd like. But make sure to like and subscribe and unlock all of that. If you made it this far in a ZVZ, it's worth going a little further. Let's do it again. Game 3, ESL Open Cup Korea. Number 3. True just playing, well, sort of playing tower defense against True. And fortunately, we don't play this game with teammates, because if this was the arcade, I'm sure his teammates would be yelling at him and telling him he should have built lurkers way earlier and also not lost. Like, can you believe he let 2 banelings through? Like, what was that? I only play with noobs in this very serious arcade match on my Windows XP computer designed before World of Warcraft came out. Why is there an inverse proportion of people who play games that have hundreds of units in them and people who have computers who can play games that have hundreds of units in them? I don't know. I mean, I kind of do. But anyways, back to the Electronic Sports League Open Cup. Game 3, True versus SortOf. The Swedish Zerg against the Korean. On Triton. We've seen many exciting games on Triton before. We've also seen many boring games on Triton before. Triton, not a standout map for exciting games, but also not a standout map for not exciting games. So Triton is kind of like the cure of maps. It's pretty good. Oh yeah, it's pretty popular as well. That's it. Cure's making a name for himself, alright? It's taking time. Go watch all the Cure games. No early pools. No drone pulls. To my disappointment and dismay, of course. But no one at this level is going to risk it. ESL points on the line. Glory on the line. Operators standing by. On the line. Third base on the way for SortOf. But True beats him to the punch once again. Baneling nest. At some point, we just fall back. It's a procaster tip. If you zone out or don't remember what you were saying, just start reading the production tab, which is a little bit less fun in ZVZ, but looks like we got Zergling speed for both sides. Baneling nest as well, within a few seconds of each other. Third hatchery, a handful more drones, and a third queen, of course. But will True invest in a creep tumor at his natural? Yes. Of course he will. Don't be dumb. Don't be silly. Metabolic Boost gonna finish up SortOf with a quick Evo chamber. True with a quick lair. Oh, the Link's trapped and killed by their blue brothers. I'm interested to see what comes out of this Evo chamber. There's a Roach one. It looks like he's probably, well, he's looking like +1 ranged attack. But remember, ZVZ is a poker game. And both these players are all in. And we're just going to have to wait for the flop. And soon, somebody will be crying a river. And I'm almost out of poker terms. But we'll see what suits these players. Roach Warren is completing. Spire on the way for True. He has a type. This time around, the Roach Warren, well, everything's a little bit better timed out for SortOf than it was last game. And also, very importantly, he didn't lose 10 drones to 2 random banelings just sauntering in like they own the place. There's already, like, it feels like we're just skipping to the mid-game of the previous one right now. We've got Lings and Banes, Bane drop. No baneling speed yet. SortOf, does he even have a lair? This is like Alpha Star build. And it's a slow V-Lord Bane drop. But does SortOf. He's kind of reacting. Where are you going? But the second round! The baited switch! 10 drones going down. Were they all from the main? I believe so. Another round coming towards the third. This one, a little bit easier to deal with. I'm very surprised. It was the staggered main attack where the drones ran and then surprise. The lair just now started for SortOf. He already finds himself down. And I think True, realizing he has map control, already double expanding again. We've fast forwarded to the mid game. We're not worrying too much about that early game Ling Bane dance. Let's get to the heavy hitting tech and the big drone losses. True did not invest in Bane. There we go. Baneling speed on the way. Just now getting his first Evo chamber. Going to be more invested in the Mutalisk this time. Queens had enough of these Sloverlords. Wait, are they Slovies? Yes. Oh, whoa, whoa. One Baneling. Not long for this world, but it's a Baneling, so it's not going to be too traumatized about that. Down it goes. SortOf holding better, but it didn't feel like he actually had a winning strategy. There's a big difference between not losing and winning. And I think SortOf was close to not losing for a while, but at no point did it look like he had a plan for winning. I guess Vipers, but you're a long way off of Vipers when they start getting their mutas out. Especially if you take any economic damage. Like, that's supposed to be the thing. If you're on 3 bases and they're on 5+, you're not supposed to be taking double-digit drone losses. That's just not acceptable. Infestation Pit. Hydralisk Den. I assume lurkers. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. He's building Evo walls. You gotta, when the Zergs come, they're not sending their best. They're sending their Zerglings. They're sending their Baneling. They're sending their Mutalisk. They're gonna be taking out your blue mineral workers. We gotta keep them out. But sir, the Mutalisk fly. Well, go ahead and notify the TSA, which is of course the Temporary Spore Administration, that they should be on the lookout for wild mutas, because we don't have any mutas around these parts. Meanwhile, right here, the mutas. There's still a bunch of queens in the main, but how many mutas is that? 10 mutas. They do have +1. Oh, those are Banelings! Here they come! It's like a... Whoa! Wait, oh, he manually detonated all the Banes! Oh, he wasted all his no! Wait, was it, how many Banes was it? It's hard to tell because the units lost tab doesn't always show it correctly. I'm pretty sure he manually detonated, or the Bane, I don't know, there's a lot going on. Meanwhile, True's at 174 supply. Oh! What? Oh, you gotta keep the Banelings out! Build the wall 3 spores deeper! Oh my god, really? He invested in 5 Evo chambers and the Banes just slip right into the mineral line. Oh my, True has 100 and something Zerglings. He has less now because he's making another couple dozen Banelings. And here we go again. Wave after wave, the tower defense game continues. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. The Queen tried to save the drones. It's all in vain. 16 drones. SortOf down to 44. Deja vu of disaster. There's lurkers here, but the banelings have already done the damage. Sort of at a loss, and will be at a loss if he continues on this road. Like, what's your strategy? You can't just minimize damage because you're not doing any back. True has 83, it's almost exactly like last game, as SortOf has lost 33 workers while doing no economic damage to True, who's on 5 bases with 83 drones. +2 melee is on the way. Thankfully, it's not done yet. The banelings on the run! They're on creep as well! It works both ways. Creep don't discriminate. More drones. Like, you can't even defend your main, sort of. That's sort of a problem. Lings and oh, another wave. It's trying to slip through. The lurkers, are they doing enough? No, they're in the net. You need like 14 lurkers. That's still like, oh my god. It won't stop happening. Dun 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 dun. Those drones gonna feel very bad about themselves, especially since so many of their number were already slaughtered. 47 workers killed, just one angle uncovered, and True is acutely aware of it. Oh, the minimap is a mess. There are 84 Zerglings, 36 Banelings. Make that 59 Banelings. So many wait, that's an Infestor! Fungal. He's built. Does he have pathogen glands? Yes, he does. They pop out with Fungal ready. Lurkers plus Fungal. Name a more iconic combo. Seismic Spines on the way. He needs to Fungal. Beautiful Fungal! Ripping to shreds a whole wave of Banelings. But he's not done yet. Another tower defense wave from the other side. Oh my god, he still has 50 Banelings. Insanity! But the Fungals! Oh, the Infestors sacrificed themselves. He holds. But at what cost? SortOf with the best defense he's been able to muster thus far. But it doesn't come for free. Oh, looking for the Fungal catches, but not nearly enough. The Banelings roll in. Another wave. Another dozen drones and 21. Even looking for the hatchery here. Wait, there's a lurker. He built the wall to the outside. Little did he know they'd come through the front door, rampage through his kitchen, throw all the drones into the garbage, and take off running with the queens. Got a little weird. Anyways, 22 more drones die. 69 total. Nicely done by True. And he won't stop. He has +2 attack in the air and on the ground, and defense was never going to be an option. True just seems to have solved SortOf. I don't know if this sort of strategy would work against all Zergs, but SortOf is struggling to deal with any of it successfully. This is the ultimate more stuff counters less stuff. True has lost 6,000 more resources, including 3,000 more gas, but he has not been losing this game. A triple Bane drop. Oh, beautiful Fungals. Is there a parasitic bomb? There's a combo, but there are more Banes coming. Here they come. Oh, the Queen's trying to hold the lurkers. They have range. There are some... Oh, no, the Banes are in the main. It's happening again. The drones run, but there's nowhere to run. Oh, my God. 82 drone kills and counting. There's a lurker. Does he have adaptive talons? No, he's building more infestors. SortOf is desperately trying to hold Trues back at 200 supply. Hundreds of lings and lurkers banelings have died. But I don't even know if that's the entire count because of how it's counted with the banelings. Another wave, Fungal off the mark. True has never heard of a hive, nor does he need to. Are those roaches? The infestors are on the run. You gotta be careful with those things. He loses a couple. The Viper doesn't really have energy. Here comes True from every side. SortOf retreats, but he holds. he holds with most of his expensive units intact. And suddenly, he sort of has a bit of breathing room. There's a lot of mutas, but most of the spores are intact. Vipers are on the table. Well, he's going to go for one of the spores. There's another spore, but spores aren't enough against the +2 mutas. That's why it's the temporary spore administration. There's a nice fungal. Where's the wombo combo? Parasitic bomb, fungal growth. But he misses the chain and wastes the parasitic bomb. Sort of it's all slipping through the cracks. It's getting desperate. The hive itself is under attack. The muta's just kind of doing whatever they want here. The queens cannot hold. They're desperate. Where are the spores? Another spore. Oh, the beautiful transfuses. A lot of damage being dealt on both sides. Infestors at the back. This is True's just kind of losing all of his mutas, which is okay because he has 3,800 gas in the bank. And he's like, well, I just lost about 20 mutas. So what am I going to do? I've lost 169 banelings, 200 zerglings. But have you heard of zerglings, banelings, and mutas? Instead of mutaless, he's going to take the muta risk. He's going to go for more. Sort of is still trapped on 3 bases. He hasn't really mined out because so many of his drones have been slaughtered. Another beautiful fungal. He's running through. Banelings are everywhere, but sort of cuts off. Sort of slices every attack. Crisscross defense. And he will hold for now. The queens in the main sort of reaches to 150 supply for the very first time. Will it last? More fungals. There is a spore. There's also a viper. A parasitic bomb going to be very helpful as well. More spores. True just really hates having mutas. He really hates it. It's a love-hate relationship. He loves them, so he always builds them. But he hates them, so he gets them killed as soon as possible. More mutas on the way. He gets the base. But at what cost? It doesn't seem to matter, because he has the entire rest of the map. If he ever has to build an infestation pit, he's essentially already lost the game. Morally, if not literally. There's no spores in the bank! The mutas! Sort of getting beat up and dragged around. 14 more drones. 114 to 0. And counting. The hive is under attack. The hive will fall. No more vipers. Oh, there's no spores here. Oh, but the infestors and some mutas and the last viper. But there's nothing left to hit. Drones. He's down to 30. Like, what do you do? The infestors, what are they gonna do? Cast microbial shroud? You know, actually, sort of is down to 22 workers. The income, not great. And that's it. He bleeds out on the ESL Open Cup virtual floor. True lost 270 lings, 217 banelings. He lost nearly double the resources and almost triple the gas. But the one thing that True did not have to lose were any amount of fucks. Because at the end of the day, he battered him down and he knocked him out with no regard for how many units were lost in the process. Well, that was quite a game. Like and subscribe and ring all the bells, and you can find more games like that or ripped off by all those channels you shouldn't be watching that are stealing content from people. I don't think they steal from me because I'm not popular enough, but you can change that. So, help me out today. Thank you to ESL. Thank you for Rifkin for the recommendation at Base Trade TV. And thank you for watching. Good luck. Have fun.